Matthew Brady, working in R&D, biomechanist and engineer, and today I'm going to talk to you about DrivelineEDGE, which is our new internally developed and tested web tool suite for pitch design sessions, trying to give 3D visuals for usage during pitch design and other pitch feedback sessions. So DrivelineEDGE right now is consisting of 5 separate web tools. We've got spin visualization, transition, and comparison, and then pitch movement and pitch comparison. So these first 3 tools are basically just going to recreate a 3D visual of a ball spinning based on pitch axis metrics. So if you're having trouble understanding what a 115 axis fastball with 80% efficiency is, you can use those. We suggest using them live in session while you're working on an athlete. Transition is going to show a ball moving from one axis to another. So for instance, you could launch the web tool, say an athlete has an issue cutting his fastball. So we enter in the metrics, it's a 130 spin axis. The gyro degree, if you have that, you can enter here at, say he's cutting it a lot, so about 35 degrees of gyro. But we want to show him what kind of a shift he'd need to make to change that axis to a 115 pitch with no gyro degree, so reducing the amount of cut. We submit that, the tool basically processes and is going to recreate the visual that then you can then use during the session to show the athlete. So that's what the pitch is going to look like at the start, a cutting fastball, and then that's the move we need to make. So just giving visual feedback to the athlete of here's where you're at right now, and what we need to do is shift the axis here, and that's going to allow us to get more movement, more break on the pitch, and reduce the amount of cut that we're creating with that additional gyro degree. If you don't have access to gyro degree, you can also use efficiency. We have efficiency calculators within the tools, and you'll be able to utilize those. The pitch comparison and pitch movement tools are actually going to allow you to recreate movement profiles of pitches that have never been thrown. So you can use pitches that you've already thrown in a session, or just play around and mess around and put random metrics in there, and develop pitches that have never been thrown before. So this is really helpful to see what goes into creating movement on a pitch. The only inputs that you need are going to be pitch axis metrics, so the spin axis and gyro degree, or the efficiency, and then the velocity and the spin rate. And you can show pitch to pitch how those movement profiles are going to change. So creating a curveball or a slider with more efficiency or more movement is a great example. So we start off with an athlete who has kind of a slurve that's not really creating the movement profile we want because it's really gyroscopic. So it's got a high gyro degree of like 65. Let's say he's throwing it at 78 miles an hour and he spins it well at about 2,700. What we want to do is create, shift that axis a bit to around 8 o'clock, and we're going to decrease the gyro degree or increase the efficiency on the pitch to around 25. Let's keep the velocity constant and the spin rate constant as well. And then as we run this tool, we'll be able to show how these 2 pitches are going to differ in movement profiles and where they're going to end up in the zone. If you run the tool normally, it's going to show where these pitches are going to end up based on a normal break plot, showing their horizontal break and vertical break. So once the video is ready, you can play it, and you can see both the pitches that we just created. You've got pitch 1, more of a slider, pitch 2, more of a slurve or slider with a lot more break, and then you can see how much that slight change in axis is going to affect the break profile of the pitch. So pitch 1 is going to end up there, pitch 2 is going to end up, at a greater horizontal and vertical distance away from center. With this tool, you can also enter in and manipulate pitch locations. So you can choose where you want the pitch to end up and control where it ends up in the zone to give you a better visual of what kind of release angle you need to have for the pitches to end up wherever they want. So the suite of web tools is made for the player. It's what we use in-house right now during pitch design sessions when a guy is having a hard time understanding what we mean when we say, oh, you need to increase your efficiency on that pitch, or you're cutting the ball, you're pronating too much, you're getting around it, or you need to get around it more on your slider or your curveball, and it's very gyroscopic right now. A lot of times when the athletes come in, they're not understanding what we're talking about. It's hard for them to conceptualize. So with this suite of web tools, you can pull up on an iPad, on a phone, computer screen, whatever it needs to be, and create a 3D visual that the athlete can then understand and combine, what you're saying with what they're seeing on the screen, and see also with confidence what those slight changes and manipulations in axis are going to give them to the pitch movement, the break profiles of the pitch.